So Ruth, have you had a good morning at Christ Church today?
And at St Mary's Carlton as well.
Oh really, both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
yeah.
Busy morning.
Yeah.
So all of us have been doing Jesus the Restorer this morning. So tell me a bit about how you have approached that today.
Well, we sort of had the reading about the Transfiguration when Jesus went up the mountainside with Peter, James and John.
Yeah.
And of course there was that amazing vision of Peter's being transfigured, not transformed but transfigured, and just that signal of his divinity and of what he'd come to earth to be with us as human but also as divine. And their reaction to it, Peter, James and John. And so, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Can we build something to remind us of it? And Jesus was sort of saying to them, well, no, actually, what you need to do is take away this amazing experience in your heart.
Yeah.
And take that with you and go out and into the world with that. And we were talking about light and darkness and how Jesus is the light and brings that restoration and comes to heal all our dis-ease.
Oh, that's
so
good. Yeah, I like that.
we hear stories about healing the lepers and you think, oh, the man couldn't walk or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually we've got dis-ease in our own
Yeah.
way, and how Jesus comes to restore us with that right relationship with God, because he knows what he's talking about, because he has that real close connection with God, because God said, this is my son, listen to him. And so, yeah, it was an amazing experience. And then he says to the disciples, but don't tell anybody just yet. And I think we think he was just trying to process it and think about it and realise what it is that Jesus is actually telling them to experience.
I can't imagine going away and not telling anybody at all.
I know.
After something as amazing as that. I think I'd just be like shouting it from the mountains. Not sure I'd be
Or they
very
might have been
happy.
saying, what did you see? And did you see that as well? Wow.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny how we're not always very comfortable about talking about things that Jesus has done, actually. Yeah. But it's interesting that you said that about the dis-ease thing, because we were using different passages from the Gospels, some of the stories of Jesus healing people, but also some of the stuff from the New Testament about the cross being the ultimate in healing and restoring and reconciling us to God as our Father, and just sorting out all the mess. So we talked quite a bit about brokenness, that on the micro scale, like in our own hearts and lives, and the kind of conflict we have in our families. And then on the macro scale, where the whole world just seems to be sad and empty, and the stats for loneliness. And so Jesus resolving the fundamental issue of independence from God. But then we talked as well about that whole kind of restoring in dignity. You know, how often Jesus, when he healed somebody, like the woman with the issue of blood or the leper, it wasn't just the physical healing, wasn't it? It was the restoring of a person's dignity and sense of worth, and often that they were included back in to the community again, not just the physical healing.
But it's that sense of light, isn't it, that brings just that feeling of life. I mean, we were talking about the contrast of light and darkness, and how I just see the experience of the eclipse of the sun, and when the light went and everything just, the birds stopped singing, and everything was just strange. It's really weird. And Jesus brings that light into all our situations, as you say, and just gives us that way forward, and that sense of healing and restoration, and helping us to be who we're really meant to be. You know, really helping us to be the people that God wants us to be.
And the other thing I think that's been quite meaningful to me, which I was talking about this morning, was that Jesus carries scars. You know, he's the wounded healer, not some kind of magician from on high going to go abracadabra and everything. So he's walked with us. He's been in our world. Like one of us, he's been wounded and accused and betrayed. All those things that cause us to feel broken. He's walked that path, and that's just such a powerful gift we have as part of the Christian faith, isn't it? That our God has wounds. You know, He's wounded with us. I just find that such a meaningful thing for my faith and understanding that He identifies with me in my weakness and frailty and mess.
And we were saying about the people he took with him, Peter, James and John. You know, they're probably the right motley crew. And Peter, who denied him, and yet Jesus saw that potential and knew what Peter could do, and there were people he trusted to take that message on and take that experience away with them. And yet, if they'd written on the CV, you know, and the Sons of Thunder, the Boanerges or whatever, they're always falling out with each other or whatever. You think, well, I don't know about these three. Are you sure you're taking these three up the mountain? You know, and you're trusting them. And like you say, he trusts us to pass that message on. And it's that just wonderful message of good news and healing, as you say.
And we talked a little bit, I don't know whether you've come across this, the Japanese kintsugi, you know, when they have the vases and they get broken and then they put them back together again, and they use a special golden glue or sort of a special cement, ceramic cement, so that you restore the vase, but with these golden threads through it where the breaks have been. And it's a particular art they have to bring beauty out of broken things. And that, it always speaks to me really deeply, you know, that we don't necessarily get rid of the things that have hurt us or the wounds we carry. It's not that everything resolves immediately. Sometimes things do, but often they don't. But that Jesus in his restoring gives life even to things that hurt. You know, he somehow manages to do that, doesn't he? To incorporate the difficult and challenging things of our lives and make them beautiful. And those are often the things we end up sharing with other people, aren't they? Our wounded, broken stories where Jesus has touched us are the very things that most communicate to other people who are going through challenging things.
We all go through the same things. I mean, it's almost, when you talked about that, I mean, I was thinking about that image that Paul has, isn't it, of the clay jars. We have our treasure in clay jars. There's all these cracks and chips that we all have, and yet God's glory can shine even through us. You know? And that's amazing.
I preached on this topic last year as well, and I love it because I actually think that sense of Jesus coming alongside to restore people is something that's such a powerful part of the gospel at every level. You know, in our spiritual lives that we're restored and made alive, but you know, emotionally and physically that God comes and meets with us. It's just beautiful, amazing to see that happening in people's lives as well.
It's just an amazing gift.